It's a bountiful day in this hollow earth, a beautiful day for a hybrid. Do they shift shape? Boy, I feel great. Won't you be my cousin? Good morning, everybody all around this hollow hologram earth. I'm getting a little bit better. I'm getting over my sickness today. I've had a cold for the last few days. I think I caught something at the Grammys from Beyonce or Taylor or Ice Spice. I was pretty close to all of them. If any of y'all saw the coverage, woo! That was a wild ride. Seems like just yesterday, but it also seems like a year ago. Isn't it funny how time works? But we are here together right now, as you know, for the most important meal of the day, and that's shrimp for breakfast, y'all. Let's fucking go. Your boy's back. Woo! This will probably blow my energy for the entire day just trying to do this. I've been kind of working on an office. I've been sick when I have energy. Yesterday I worked all morning on the magic puzzle. And then yesterday afternoon I was like gearing up to take over to jiu-jitsu, and I just crashed and I just like slept friggin' for an hour. And then just sort of answered some emails and shit. So I've kind of just been like, wait, did I even, what do I got here? Yeah, we're good. So yeah, just been riding this thing out. You know, this little, the Beyonce flu, I think, COVID B, you know, COVID Bay. I got that COVID Bay. I got that COVID Tay-Tay. That's that new strain from the Grammys, y'all. Exclusive. Oh, as I'm wearing this to remind myself to talk about it. When I was talking about the Grammys in the last video, I forgot the most impactful performance. I'm still so jet lagged and everything, and I guess I'm still in this weird time warp because I was like all jet lagged, and then just as we started to come out of it, everybody got sick. We turned the vape down a little bit so it's not as hot. A lot of times when I'm sick, I'll eat edibles so that I'm not hitting anything in the lungs and the throat. But I don't have any at the moment. So yeah, I forgot to mention the fucking Tracy Chapman performance, guys. I mean, I know y'all saw it. And some dude, Luke Combs, I think his name is, he must have just redone the song. And then they did a duet. And that one hit. And it's funny, I think everybody was like, there's a whole thing about everybody's crying during that, and I'm not sure why. But for me, I was crying in the Grammys, sitting front row. Cause that one especially, you know, I told y'all how, you know, like a year and a half ago, my dad passed, and my dad was so into rock and roll mythology and history and lore, you know, the history of rock and roll. You know, Lil Richard and Motown and all that, and then coming up, you know, the Beach Boys were his favorite, and Pet Sounds and the Lost album of Pet Sounds. He had a Pet Sounds, or not Pet Sounds, because that was an album, but what was the other one? Smile, when, you know, Brian Wilson went crazy and he burnt all the Smile like master tracks or whatever. My dad had like gathered up and made a Smile mixtape way back in the day before they had like recompiled it and made the new album. He was like a real rock and roll historian. And you know, I remember growing up and hearing that Tracy Chapman song. That there's something so unique about that song, and maybe that's why it hits for everybody. There's kind of no song that sounds like that from beginning to end. The way it starts and just everything about it is so mysterious, the lyrics and stuff. And I remember, you know, it's funny, like, you know, I see my kids absorbing music now, and how kids interpret lyrics is so different than how you hear it as an adult. And I remember being sort of kind of mystified and mesmerized. There's so much mystery and intrigue. You know, we always talk about creating mystery and intrigue. There's so much in that song. And I could really vividly remember that being, just when that would come on as a child in the house. And I really associate that song with my dad. And you know, really like as the unexpected Grammy nomination. And I told y'all when my dad was passing, he said like, I'm gonna continue to work for the family, like in the other realms. And there's been little winks and nods from my dad. And that weekend was, his birthday weekend. And I get this out of the blue Grammy nomination that I didn't even know was possible, didn't even know it was nominated, like put forward for or anything. And we end up flying to LA on his birthday, on what would be his 75th birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. And spending that great weekend at the Grammys, like, such a part of the rock and roll industry and the history there. And it all really hit me at that moment. And so I forgot to share that. But that was very special. That was very special. And I could really feel my dad vibing on that whole scene. And at the same weekend, um, my mom and my siblings were testifying in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a fucked up state, and they don't have, if you're a terminally ill person, you cannot like end your life willingly. And my dad wanted to do that. And he even explored other options like moving to Vermont where it's allowed, or moving to Maine where it's allowed, or I think even in Massachusetts. I don't know if it is in Massachusetts, but New Hampshire has this whole "live free or die" slogan, which is such fucking bullshit because weed isn't even legal there. It's such a police state, and even if you want live free or die, live free, and if you want to die, you cannot die legally. Like, how fucked up is that? So fuck you, New Hampshire. But that weekend, my mom and my siblings were testifying to try to get that law changed, with the initiative, with whatever group is, I forget, the right to I don't know, right to death or whatever, I don't know what it's called. Shout out to them. But they were testifying that weekend, which happened to be my dad's birthday weekend. I mean, how wild is that? How wild is that? How life works, right? I'll tell you, the greatest conspiracy ever perpetrated by the mainstream. Everybody's obsessed with conspiracies. The greatest conspiracy ever perpetrated by the mainstream is that life isn't magical, that everything isn't meaningful, that everything isn't connected, that absolutely everything is possible and everything is happening somewhere all the time, and you just need to learn to read how life works, the signs of life, and open yourself and be connected to it, and you see it and you feel it and you learn how to ride it, right? You learn how to move with it. That's the whole thing of life, is that it is this giant creative flow state. And when you start to learn to see it and feel it and hear it and taste it and read it, everything starts to make sense in a new way, and it's very much easier to figure out what your next move is, right? And that just really blew my mind. The whole weekend, it was such an amazing thing. I'm trying to. I think there was something else about the Grammys that I forgot to say. Oh, just that I mistakenly fucking shouted out Amanda from I Am 8-Bit as Angela, and then I forgot to shout out Brian from I Am 8-Bit too. John's wonderful partner. And yeah, just what an amazing time. I mean, looking back, it was just like I was anticipating it and building it up for so long, and like I didn't know what it was gonna be. And I wasn't really focused on winning. I was just focused on the experience, and then I was also like really wanted to bring people along and share it. And it was such a fucking whirlwind, and it ended with the rain out, and then the Instagram ban, and then it was so wild. But it was so much fun, and just being in the airport. I haven't traveled for years, since pre-COVID, and since I was out for the Adventure Time finale party in LA. And that was a lifetime ago, especially post-COVID. And just even like chilling in the airport and eating in the airport with Athena was really fun, you know. And oh, happy Valentine's Day, everybody! Happy fucking Valentine's Day! Hope everybody is having a good Valentine's Day, chilling with their sweetie. Valentine's Day is Ghostshrimp's half birthday, so I'm 43 and a half today. Can y'all believe it? I am firmly in that summer rooster mode. You're a spring chicken, 20 to 40. 40 to 60 is summer rooster, right? And you start to feel those signs of SRS, summer rooster syndrome, right? You start to have to, really make sure you're getting enough sleep and hydration, and, those hangovers last a couple extra days, Things start to freak you out a little more. Things might start to bug you a little more, right? And then after that, 60 to 80 comes fall turkey, right? And you got to watch out because then people are gunning for you. Diseases, right? That's where 60 to 80 is where the danger zone is. That's where you really got to dial it in, really get healthy, really get focused. Make sure you're, really getting those life goals in the bag, because who knows? I mean, who knows how long any of us have, right? The wildest thing about life is it could end at any moment. Are the way we perceive this physical, interaction. I mean, it's what's physical anyway, but this thing that we call the life we're leading, it can change in an instant in many ways. And especially with my dad dying now, I'm much more aware that, much more confirmed that nothing ever ends, that it just keeps going on. I can truly, really feel my father in me and everywhere in the world now, everywhere in the forest, in the universe, in the world. It's one link closer to the cosmic collective. Like I can feel, I'm very aware that I'm connected with the whole universe. That's like my work. We talk about, we're talking more and more about the art gods and the connection with the art gods and the inspirational art conversation we're having with the art gods. And my father transforming into this next stage has really made me one link closer. At first I was freaked out about it. When he died, I was like, my grandfather died a couple years ago, right? And he was like the patriarch of the family. Like my grandma's still alive and she's the matriarch, right? Shout out to Shirley Lafler. She's 97 and still kicking. And my grandfather passed, and then my dad passed a couple years after that. And then maybe even like a year after. It was very quick. And then, I have a older brother as well, my half brother. He's kind of estranged and an addict, so he's kind of like in another realm. He's in between world. He's not in the world fully. So that's its own thing. But I started to get this feeling like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, like I was in this line and like I was next, and like my toes are at the edge of this cliff. And if you know the Ghostshrimp history, if you're a Ghostshrimp historian and you speak fluent Ghostshrimp, you will know that a key turning point in my life was with my older brother at Singing Beach in Massachusetts, our motherland. And we were jumping off this cliff at the ocean, and I fell. I botched the jump, and I went head over heels down this cliff, 40-foot cliff, and broke my wrist on the way down, and going head over heels down, and hit this ledge before I fell into the ocean. And I immediately shattered every bone in both my feet and my left ankle, and I fall in there, right? And I'm broken. And I reemerged from the ocean and became the Ghostshrimp. That was the thing that flipped my switch out of like I was in this downward spiral of oblivion and depression in my life. And that's the thing that woke me up, that like I am in charge of creating my own reality. It's not about other people, and I just need to do what I want to do, right? So that was a pivotal moment, and I started to feel again like I was at this, in a negative way, like I was at the edge of this cliff, which is a very symbolic thing. But I was thinking of it in the way that I would fall and be gone, right? Like this time it will take me. But now I'm really seeing it as, yes, there is not the barrier between me and the other worlds, in the other realms, in the afterlife, in the next step. I really don't think life is like the main event. I don't think this is the main event of my experience, and I understand that better now. It's one event. Maybe it's a prelim. Maybe this is the pre-prelim. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm realizing that I'm more connected than ever. Being there on the edge of that cliff is, I'm one step closer to my own ascension, to the connection. I am there, and I'm even more closely connected with the essence of life, the meaning of life, the ancestors, right? My father is now an ancestor, right? And I can hear him talking, and through him I'm closer to all the ancestors, and I can hear them all talking. And that's the point of getting older. That's the point of seeing the people that are in front of you transform into something else, because it is the indicator to you that this is happening, this is coming, this is where you're at, right? And to deny it, to not want to embrace it, to not want to think about it, is to scare yourself and give into the fear, and allow yourself to be afraid of of mortality, right? Of the way things are, of how we perceive things. And that doesn't make any sense. And I'm not a fearful person at all. I'm not afraid of anything. And embracing it, and figuring out how it makes sense, right? Fear stops you from making sense of things. You have to push beyond it and go, like, what's behind that? What is making me afraid? Like, what do I have to grapple with? What do I not understand yet that is making me feel uncomfortable, right? Fear is just a form of being uncomfortable. And like we always talk about, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So it's a signal, it's a message, and it needs to be taken. Some people get the message of fear, or get the message of stress, or get the message of anxiety, and just stare at it like a flashing alarm clock. And they never open it up and look at the message inside in order to understand it and move forward, right? They're paralyzed by the fear, but I always want to understand everything at a deep level for myself, not just ask everybody else. I saw this great quote the other day that said, if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everybody's opinion. And that's exactly right. It's crazy how all the answers to life are right there in plain sight. Like, all the anecdotes and all the cliches and all the common sense stuff, all the keys and the secrets to life are right there. It just matters if you're in the right place and lined up to hear it and see it. And to keep readjusting. Like, you learn when you have kids that, like, every 6 months, there's a completely different huge stage of development coming, and everything you knew has to be thrown out and reevaluated and reimagined, and it readjusted to, in order to, like, enjoy it and move forward, right? And kids know that, because when they grow up, they're constantly adjusting, right? They're constantly adjusting to new realities of the world. They're learning so much. But as we get older, and around the time that we start to become parents, our brains get very solidified and calcified, right? I'm sure you've felt this or seen this to people around you, how people kind of stop letting in new information and changing their outlook, and people kind of stop evolving what they think about their world and what they think the possibilities are. They've kind of settled into this thing of, this is reality, and this is how things work, and you can't do it this other way, and blah blah blah. And it's not true. It's such bullshit. And the great thing about when you have kids, if you're open to that message, it gives it to you loud and clear. The child, right? The idea that the child is the father of the parent, and they reteach you again how to be a child, and how to be fresh in the world, and how to have that, as the self-help people like to say, beginner's mind, right? What a wonderful life we live. This unique thing that we can do anything we want with. That it's just really about, you know, taking the time to stop and forget what everybody else says, forget what everybody else thinks, and think I am a unique life form with infinite potential and infinite outcomes and infinite possibilities that are sprouting from me all the time in this quantum multiverse. I'm a cloud of every single possible version of myself. That is such a creative brainstorm. I am a creative brainstorm floating through the motherfucking universe, floating through every single multiverse at the same time, everywhere, all at once. And I am every possibility. So literally nothing is impossible. And there are no rules. And I just need to take the time to figure out what kind of flow state I want to funnel into, what kind of energy I want to embody, what kind of life I am going to choose to live, to engage with. What I have all this tremendous energy that I will output through my life. And the direction that I put that in is going to absolutely affect the outcome of my existence, of the existences that are most closely tied to me, and the existences that are closely tied to them, and outwards, right? It's a giant sound wave that is just going in all directions, back and forth. What could be more inspiring and empowering than that? Right? I can't think of anything. Woo! God damn, we piping hot this morning. We back, y'all. It feels good to be back. My brain's working again. We just kicked off the round 14 of the workshop, the Ghostshrimp Classic workshop, this past Sunday, and I was like just really starting to get sick, and I made the video and it like was kind of incoherent. Like if some of the people speak fluent Ghostshrimp, like they were able to parse it out, but some of the people were like, what the fuck did you just say? So I had to jump in and clarify a few things. Don't worry, y'all. It will make sense. The deeper we go, the more it'll make sense, as you know, as you Ghostshrimp historians know. There's an internal logic to the world of shrimp. You know, shrimp are everywhere. Shrimp are primordial. Shrimp are much older than humans, right? The ghosts of all shrimp. But we kicked off the workshop. Which I'm so incredibly psyched about. And this will be so this is round 14 and it goes till the springtime, and then spring and summer I'm not doing the workshop. I like to just, chill with the fam. We go to the beach every day that it's nice when it's warm out. Get into the camping and the hiking and that's why you live in the beautiful Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, and then if y'all are interested in taking the next round of the Ghostshrimp Classic Workshop, round 15 is going to be in October. And you can sign up for that right now at ghostshrimpglobal.com, right? And while we're talking about it, in April, right, we're going to have the Lost Forest coloring book dropping. It's coming out April 16th, and you can pre-order it right now for $17. Go to ghostshrimpglobal.com. We have the links to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart. Fucking, it's going to be everywhere. And very happy to announce on 4/20, we will be having a book release party at the Galaxy Bookshop in Hardwick, Vermont. So if y'all want to come and show up and show out and support the Lost Forest, come out and see your boy. We're having a great community release party. Just lined it up. We're going to be coloring, hanging out, having fun. But let's see. We got a few minutes left. Let's see if we can answer one of these questions. I see my boy Kung Fu Salsa out here. Pratt alumni. He said, here's a question for you. Maybe somebody asked this already, but what do you think of illustrators using AI in their workflows? Recently, I'm getting portfolios with obvious AI that's been being passed off as their illustrations. I'm conflicted personally because I'm opposed to machines doing our creative work for us, but perhaps there is a responsible way to use concepts or lighting stories in the process. But as final outputs, I don't want anything to do with it. Curious if you have any thoughts or experience with it. So I am getting involved in AI. I will talk about it more in depth when we're ready to talk about it. I will say that it's with the Hanukkah brothers. So if y'all know Tomer and Asaph, is it Asaph? I've been talking to Tomer, and I'm getting involved with them. So I'm very excited about that. It's funny. I've People that know me historically, I've been like anti-technology. Like I just recently got a cell phone again. I had a cell phone very early on when I was living in my cabin, and well, not very early on, but as far as connecting to the internet, I needed a cell phone, and this was so I was living in a cabin in the woods using a BlackBerry to connect to the internet in like 2005, which was like very early for that, and like you could barely even get the internet on the phone. It didn't really work. It all broke up and like was fucked up. So traditionally, I'm pretty anti-technology. I got rid of the cell phone after that. Like after LA, we got rid of it. I didn't have a cell phone for like a decade here, and now I have one again, mostly for socials and just staying in touch with people. I kind of fell out of touch with a lot of my friends over that time. Still trying to kind of get it back in touch with everybody, really honestly. But this is definitely a topic we should dive more into. Probably not enough time to dive way into it. But I'm actually surprisingly very pro AI. I understand exactly why people are scared about it and apprehensive about it. I'm at this weird. I'm such a contrarian that when I was young, I was anti-technology, and now that I'm older, when everybody else is freaked out about technology, I'm pro-technology. But I was anti, as Kung Fu Salsa may remember, I was pretty anti like Photoshop when we were in school and stuff. Even I was like, that's bullshit. But now it's not like, hey, this person's using Photoshop in their portfolio. What the fuck, you know? Like everybody, I use Photoshop. Everybody use Photoshop. Like AI is just a tool. It's a very powerful tool. It's like a giant quantum leap ahead in tools. But yeah, I think it's gonna it's first of all lowers the barrier of entry to art, which all technology does, right? All over history, like every technological breakthrough has lowered the barrier and let more people in and let a new generation of artists express themselves with AI or with the new technology, which I think is positive. I think it makes more art and more artists. I think no matter what, more art is always good. There's always a lot of bad art. There's always a lot of copycats. That's just a byproduct of everything. There's a lot of bad everything and a lot of copycat everything in every genre of life, if you think about it, of just personalities of people, of businesses, of everything, of bands, right? Like and it's gonna revolutionize everything. It's gonna fuck everything up, just like streaming and digital downloads, like shook up the music industry. This is like that. This is gonna just blow up the art industry. But ever since it kind of caught my imagination, I was like, I wonder what my art will look like in AI, and I'm already very used to seeing like a lot of iterations of my work. Like ever since Adventure Time, like I've seen like so many people are inspired by my work and reiterate it in their own ways, and I just see the influence everywhere now. And to me, I was drawing Marvel guys and shit when I was coming up and trying to make it look like them, and you know I'm just flattered by it, honestly. I'm just like, I'm amazed by it. I'm like, wow, like I take a different look at it. I go like, I love when I see people copying my stuff. I love when I see even people bootlegging my shit. I'm like, I can't believe I'm that influential that people are taking the time to bootleg my stuff and they can make money off of my stuff too. That's pretty wild, right? So I'm excited to see I know everything is alive. In my opinion, everything is alive, and AI is alive, and AI is sentient, just like everything is. Like everything is like a rock is sentient and alive. Like I have a different view on sentience and living. Like as the Beehive Boy poster says, everything is alive. So I have a different view than most people about almost everything. But I am into it. I think it's inevitable, first of all. I think it's stupid to try to stop it. I think the best thing to do is embrace it, encourage it, and see where it goes, because in another 10 years, in another 20 years, it'll be old hat. There'll be something new that blows that away, and maybe it's even in 1 year or 5 years at the rate things are changing now. Um, yeah, I just think that it's just a new tool, and it's going to create new applications of art. In my exploration, I haven't messed with AI at all. Like, I love my process, but I'm fascinated with the idea of a ghost shrimp AI. Like, I've always fascinated with the idea of like cloning myself and having like other versions of me making art, and that's just what this AI is. So I'm like, oh shit, and so what I'm involved in is making a ghost shrimp data set, and it is something that I'm going to be playing with, and I'm very excited to do that. I'm excited to see other people's ghost shrimp AI art. So if you are fucking with AI, like, fucking tag me and like make some ghost shrimp AI. I'm very excited about it. Like, you have my permission to use my art, like everybody does, right? Y'all are already doing it, so use it up. I've used other people's art. I make it a point to keep my art looking unique and hide my influences as much as possible. But if you want to put it out in the open, that's okay with me. Y'all can use my art in any way you want. um I mean, if I don't own it, that's a different story. I don't own all my art. The Adventure Time stuff is owned by Cartoon Network, so you gotta be careful. But I think art is meant to be shared, and I all praise to the art gods, and I think the art gods have created AI, and I'm here for it. So we're gonna leave it there right now because we're about to run out of time. But there we go, a little shrimp for breakfast, y'all. Let's dive into more AI shit, y'all. Ask me more questions, put them in the comments. See you tomorrow.